6:41 p.m. I'm following up with my video from earlier this afternoon, and I've got my dishes done, and I'm going to be heading off to bed shortly. There's not a whole lot for me to do, so to keep this girl, this old woman, I should say, happy and content, So I usually head to bed around this time. I don't always fall asleep. I get up a lot. I read a little bit. I play this little video game or whatever, and then I just kind of walk around a little bit till I get tired. It's the same nightly ritual, but there's a lot of restlessness inside of me, and there has been pretty much for a long time, even before I realized I was a targeted individual, because I have a lot of energy inside of me, and I like doing different things, and I like being spontaneous, and I like having activities, lots of activities, And so when I'm not entertained that way, I just kind of, it's just kind of a blah type thing. So I was thinking about, the kind of world that I prefer to live in. What I mean by world, I can't change the world around me. I'm not, stupid enough to even try something like that. I believe that, what we want in life, we have to create it ourselves, And so, the kind of life I've always wanted was, what I consider to be a full life. I should have at least one or two good women friends that come over and keep me company, talk, have tea. I was thinking, I mentioned the cake parties before, just do stuff, with other women and talk, And that's the kind of life I always wanted, just a very simple life. I know a lot of people, kind of look at me like, well, don't you want to get married? Don't you want to? Okay, first of all, I'd like to say that, I've been married before, okay, and it was a train wreck. But, but that is really not what had brought me to this conclusion, okay? You try it. I've tried it, and really, I can't see myself happy with another person. I got married late in life, I was like in my 30s or something, and by that time I had already lived on my own for many years. And I will say that I didn't like the adjustment. I mean, there were times where, me and my ex-husband, we would laugh and talk and stuff like that, and that's nice, okay? But I'm happy by myself. And I know that's hard for a lot of people to understand, but that's just how I want it to be. I don't want to be a part of a family. I mean, I think you can create friends and make them into family. That's an idea for what I think is better, because they can always go home. I like my space, okay, and I've become accustomed to being that way. When I was married, there were times that I just wanted to be alone, and then there were times when he would come home and I'm like, oh my God. Even though he would come in at home in a good mood, I would still be like, I just really want my space. I want my space, and that's how it is. So I just prefer people to stay out of personal issues like that, as well as, the main thing is, like, this should have never, ever gotten in, the whole thing should have been never wrapped up into employment. I just prefer to keep my personal life to myself, The only reason why I'm talking about it is because everyone else threw all this shit out in the open. And, it's not an unusual thing for somebody who's already been married to not want to get married again. They just don't want to do it. I prefer having the ability to come and go as I please, and that's just how it is. I'm not bashing marriage. It's just not for me. There's nothing about it that appeals to me. And that's pretty much the way it is. So, I would prefer to, set my life up the way that I want it to be. And the way that I want it to be is, there's no way in the world you can have a shitload of friends. There's just no way. And because most people are full of themselves, they're backstabbers, they gossip too much, they'll smile in your face, and then they'll do all kinds of sabotaging type things behind your back. I'm well aware of this, okay? And the chances of finding true sincerity within an individual is very rare. This I'm very well aware of. But I just would prefer to have a very close circle of close people that I can trust, okay? And if that never happens, then at least I know I protected myself. And that's just how it is. You know, you can enjoy light conversation, you know, like you go to a store and the sales clerk makes light conversation with you. That's enough. You know what I mean? It's enough for me. It really is. I mean, but this isn't the life that I wanted for myself. I mean, no way. You know, I'm too outgoing. I'm too, you know, talkative. Yes, I'm a very talkative person, you know, once you get to know me. To be, you know, isolated in a situation the way that I am. So, you know, I'm not in a bad mood today, right now. I mean, earlier this afternoon, and then like last night, I was kind of like, these stupid people, right, in my life, and you know, I want a new start. You know, I want a new start, a new life, one that is in alignment with who I am, and that's it. You know, I'm a very simple person. You know, and I'm a very sincere person, and I deserve to have that sort of sincerity when it comes to friendships, you know. I think a lot of people just get too nosy and too, which I'm not. I don't care. When I was younger, I think I had curiosities about people. Like I was always wondering, I wonder what that person's like. And the older I get, the less I care. I don't care what other people do with their lives. I'm not curious about it. I just respect other people's space, which I understand is a very hard thing to ask of other people, because their entire lives revolve around the sabotaging, the gossip, and the slandering of other people. So yeah, caution is really something that needs to be taken in consideration. But you know, I would like to be more active in my life. I'd like to, you know, go places more, get out of the house more. Here where I am right now, I mean, I where I plan to move to is another small town, okay, one that I was raised in pretty much. It's changed, and I don't really expect my life to change that drastically. It'll probably be much the same, but I just feel as though I didn't get a fair shake in this town. I feel as though that this community is one that is not conducive to my well-being, and so that's pretty much where I stand on that. You know, I prefer to just kind of move into a little place, a little apartment, and live out a quiet life, you know, and hopefully I'll find a job that is stimulating enough for me to stay busy for a good amount of hours and come home and relax and unwind. And, you know, hopefully, you know, if I can find a sincere person who enjoys spending time and talking, you know, somebody who enjoys conversation, you know, then that would be great, you know. But I want peace and tranquility in my life. That's really all I care about, you know. Someone to share my hobbies with, you know, just someone to go out in the mornings, go for walks, talking, a friend, you know what I mean? A friend, a real friend, you know, which is something that a lot of people struggle to find. I mean, even though people hang out with each other, that really doesn't mean anything, okay? You're just simply hanging out. But when the shit hits the pan, where are these people, right? So, I don't miss any of these people that I used to know. I don't have any emotional connection to the people that I used to know, which tells me that it's time to move on, you know, and go and do the things that I want to do in life. And that's most important to me, because, you know, I'm already an older woman. I spent the last decade or more being gang-stalked, gossiped about, slandered, plotted against, you know, whatever you could imagine. And enough is enough. You know, it's like people are quick to terrorize somebody just for the sake of doing it, you know. A lot of women now are lives are being played for some sort of a sport. Like, you know, I mentioned before, a lot of targeted individuals are women. And just because a woman chooses to be single doesn't mean that they need to. Of course, in this issue, my issue is a little different. This issue has a lot to do with my ex-husband's family, as well as some weird gossip about the guy that I used to know back in high school. all of which I had nothing to do with. And I suppose these people had this gossip thing going that I had some sort of love choice to make. I choose neither. I mean, when I first found out that the guy from high school was around or hovering around, I was kind of like, well, that's cool. I'd love to see him. I would love to, give him a chance. Why not? Because I figured there was so much time that went by and I never really got a chance to know him. Why wouldn't I want to get to know him, right? But as I started to tap in and got more information, I realized there's a huge incompatibility between us, So I'm happy by myself. Seriously, I am. I couldn't imagine, blending families or living up to some sort of family expectation. I don't want that in my life. It's baggage to me. Baggage. Some people have families that are very supportive towards each individual person's needs and wants. And that's what it really should be. I would never expect my child to be controlled by me. I would never expect that. I want my kid to enjoy their life to the fullest, whatever they want to do. Of course, as long as it's not harming themselves or it's not harming other people. And to me, that's the purpose in life. You want people to evolve. And some people want you to constantly devolve or whatever, so that they could feel comfortable with themselves. And that's not love. Love is allowing other people to grow in the way that they need to. And I understand that there's a lot of women my age who have children, who are married and everything, and that's fine. Okay, I had a kid. I'm very glad that I did. Okay, I had one child. Too old to have any more, and I really wouldn't want any more. I see kids all the time, and I think they're the cutest thing in the world. Especially little girls when they're all dressed up. They look adorable in those little dresses. And then I see these little boys that walk around, they're dressed kind of like their dad. That is so cute. Like, there was this one little kid, his dad was mowing the lawn, and he had like a little play mower. He was following his dad, and I just had to giggle when I saw that, because that was so cute. You know what I mean? He was all thinking he was a little man. It was adorable. But, I enjoy looking at, the happiness of other children. I do. I do enjoy seeing that. But I don't want that for myself. I wouldn't want to get up every few minutes and chase after a little kid. That's just too exhausting for me. And so, people, there's a lot of women in society who just don't want to get married at all. They didn't even have a chance. They even got married. Okay, there's some women my age who've never been married at all. Okay, and that's their choice. You know what I mean? And they shouldn't have to explain that or justify themselves or anything. It just doesn't interest me to get married. And aside from that, and I think this is very important, once you're gang stalked, you can never really build trust. And the fact that I'm all by myself, where I could easily be put into another abusive situation. I don't want that. I have to make sure that I'm always protected. I have to protect myself. And that's not the main reason. The main reason is I just don't want it. I don't want to be stuck where I have to constantly make adjustments to my life that I'm not going to be fully happy. I'm just not. I don't love anyone on the face of this earth to make those sort of adjustments. I just don't. And it's better to know those things about yourself than to put yourself in a situation where you are going to be miserable and you're going to make the other person miserable. I remember this one idiot. She was such an idiot. Okay, I'm not going to mention any names, but you can probably figure it out who it was. We were talking about this particular couple who didn't have any children. They were married, but they didn't have any children. And she's like, well, I think it's pretty selfish to not bring children, to have any children. And I'm thinking, that is so stupid. People think about, I guess maybe it's impulsive. A lot of people have children because it's impulsive or they think it's a thing to do. But it's far better if you know that you're not the kind of person that's going to be able to devote your time. You're not going to be willing to guide or direct that kid properly. Then you are making a wise decision to not bring that child into the world or bring kid into the world, because you aren't going to be a good parent. And the kid's going to grow up and that's going to end up resenting you, acting out, and all kinds of other things, So it is not a shameful thing if a person makes a decision to not have kids. Okay, some people want the companionship of marriage. but they don't want kids. Okay, there are some people who want kids, but they don't want marriage. Okay, so there are some single people, I do believe, that are able to adopt children. Okay, and whatever they can say, whatever they want to do in life. Okay, some people think, well, kids are only happy with two parents. Well, not if those parents are arguing and stabbing each other in the back, and there's always some sort of drama. Sometimes it's better off just to do things. We have to make those decisions on our own, okay? And as long as you're not being a burden to other people, and you can carry that load on your own, then whatever. You know what I mean? I mind my own business, and I expect other people to mind their own business as well. Although I know that's an impossible task for these nosy, busybody people. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video. I think I said all I needed to say. I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and I'll be back with another one later. Good night.